Hello and welcome back to Fill Zone, and welcome to part 19 of Learning Piece by Piece, the complete beginner's guide to working in Motion 5. And if you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click that bell so you'll be updated when future videos in the series are uploaded. Also, why not pop along to our Facebook group Motion for Complete Beginners, and I'll leave a link to that in the description where you can get further tips and help and get the support that you need when you're on this motion journey. Okay, today we're going to continue our look at the behaviors, and we're going to look at two behaviors which are very, very similar, and I really can't see much of a difference. There is one subtle difference which we'll come across later, but let's have a look at what we've got here. Okay, as you can see, I've got two rocks, very similar, in fact exactly the same, which I pulled from the library. And to one, I've added the wriggle behavior, and I've set to those settings, and to the other one, I've added the randomized behavior, and I've set exactly the same settings because the controls are exactly the same. And so when we play it back, what we've got is exactly the same movement. And so for me, there's very little difference between the two behaviors, the randomize and the wriggle. And both of them really just produce this random motion, which you don't really have any control over, but you just want some motion along a certain parameter. Okay, so let's have a look at some of these controls now. So we'll disable one of the rocks, and we'll have a look at the control panel. Okay, so we have, you can see here the amount, and obviously this is the amount of random motion that you want. So the lower you put it, the less motion you're going to get. And the higher you put it, the more motion that you're going to get. Okay, and then you have four ways to apply it. You can add, which in rotation turns it in a certain way. Subtract reverses it. Multiply seems to cancel each other out, and add and subtract means that it will go first one way and then back the other way. So you can play with these as much as you like and have a look. The frequency is basically how far the distance between each of the movements. So the higher the frequency, the more movement you're going to get. And then if we look at the noisiness is just again going to add to motion, more motion to the effect. So it's another way to add a little bit more craziness, I guess, to the effect. You also somehow have some other parameters down here, and we'll have a look at how to use those later. But first, let's have a look at how we apply this to some of our objects. This is not something that you'd really use as a standalone, but there are things that you can do where you just want a random motion for an object in the background. Okay, so we've got this baseball here, and we will go to the rotation on Y. We'll click on the arrow, and we'll add parameter behavior, and we'll go wriggle this time. And then we'll set the amount to 360. We'll set it to add and subtract. Set the frequency. 0.25 will do. And then we'll set the noisiness to 0.25 as well. And then basically we've got the baseball. It's just doing some random movements. And if I wanted to keyframe that, it would take me an awful long time. Okay, so now let's go to the bed. And this time what we'll do, we want to animate it on the position Y. So this time we'll use the randomized behavior. Again, we'll set the amount to, this time we'll set it to 35. We'll set the apply mode to add, leave it at add, the frequency to 0.15. Now you've just seen the little subtle difference between the randomize and the wriggle. In the randomize, I can't go to hundredths, decimal places. I can only go to tenths. With the wriggle, I can do hundredths. And then we'll set the noisiness to 0.8. And there you go, you've got the bed vibrating up and down. And then finally, let's have a look at the rock. And we want this to rotate on its X parameter. So we will go to the arrow, add parameter behavior, and this time we'll go back to wriggle. And we'll set the amount to 360 again. We'll set the apply mode to subtract. Frequency we'll make 0.35, no, we'll do 0.1. And then the noisiness we'll set to 0.35. And now we've animated the rock very simply, very quickly, and that would actually take us a very long time to actually keyframe that movement over the 10-second period. So we just want an object rotating or moving in the background. It's a very, very useful behavior where you don't need absolute control over where the movement goes. In other instances, I was playing around with the little smiley face. I created the little Bezier mouth and 2 circles for the eyes. While I was playing around, I discovered that we can animate it in quite a fun way. So what I did was, in scale on Y, I went and add parameter behavior wriggle. And because now I'm going to use very subtle movements in the control panel, let's make that 80%. We'll set it to multiply. We'll set the frequency, we'll leave that at 1, and the noisiness to 0.3. And then what we've accomplished there is the mouth just opening and closing. But I only wanted to do it once, so we'll go to about 45 frames and set its out point by pressing O on the keyboard, and now we've got its mouth opening and closing. For the eye, I did exactly the same thing. I added a parameter behavior wriggle to the position. The scale on Y, set its in point at 60 and its out point to 90. Set the amount to 45, again to multiply, make that 45, and the frequency to 1.2, and then the noisiness we just left at 0.5. And so then what we produced was the little winking eye. And so, yet there are things that you can do if you play around with this behavior, or one of these 2 behaviors, because they're exactly the same. There are things that you can create. And the lights, very, very simple. I've just got 3 light bulbs in 3 groups, and I've got a line coming down from the ceiling. Each group consists of a line which represents the cable, and in the group I've got this light bulb which I downloaded from the internet. You could probably create one if you've got more time. And then to this I added a glow, and then added the wriggle behavior, and set the multiplier to 100, apply mode to multiply, frequency 1.75, and noisiness 0.35, and set it to its opacity. And I did that for all the groups, and let's turn on all of the wriggles and glows, and then that created these light bulbs flashing on and off. Now this is where you can alter some of the other controls. You have this random, the start offset. Let's make that 1 for that one. So it will start slightly later than the other light bulbs. And then we'll find another one and we'll set the start offset to 2, and it'll start again a little bit later. We also have the random seed button. Click that and it will alter the pattern at which it flickers and flashes. And so you can create different patterns and they won't all look the same. And so then you've created this really nice effect with the flashing lights, and I'm thinking Christmas trees and all sorts of stuff now. Okay, so that's it for this video. It's a great behavior. It can save you an awful lot of time, and I hope you understand a little bit more now about how it works. And that's it. Play around with the behaviors, both of them, they're exactly the same. And if you like the video, give us a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, click the bell, so you'll be updated when future videos in the series are uploaded. I hope you understand a little bit more about how these two behaviors work now, and you'll have some fun playing around with them. And all that remains to be said now is see you in the next video.